Should we expect the worst, or should we hold on to hope and tell ourselves that the worst is not actually going to happen? As bad as things are, the worst case scenarios that people sometimes talk about are not actually going to happen. Well, the answer is yes, you should expect the worst. I recently recorded a video explaining exactly why. Here it is. So I posted a video the other day, which I titled, "Am I Insane? It's Happening." And in that video, I talked about how bad things are getting in this country in terms of what Donald Trump is doing to destroy it, and the authoritarianism on steroids happening in this country. And I talked about how I don't think most Americans are even aware of it or care about it, and certainly are not, in my view, sufficiently alarmed by it. And I spoke in some pretty dire terms. Now, I got a comment that I want to address, and this person wrote, "You're clearly not alone. I'm a lawyer, and all my lawyer friends are outraged, but also, we shouldn't be so doomsday. Trumpy is mostly for show. A lot of what he does is nonsensical show." Now, that is absolutely true. I've talked about that many times. A lot of what he does is complete and utter bullshit. In fact, I have a video that I just recorded. I don't know if it will have posted before or after you're watching this video, and honestly, I don't know if I'm putting it on this channel or one of my other two channels, which check the video description below to get a link to my other two channels, because you don't want to miss anything. But so anyway, I addressed exactly this point in that video, and that is, much of what he does is pure bullshit. It sounds really bad, and it's designed to make you outraged. It's designed to distract. It's designed to get you mad about this, so you're not paying attention to this. But as bad as some of these things sound, they're complete and utter nonsense. Like in that video, I talked about this tweet or this bleat on Truth Social that he put out about ordering the military and the federal government, Department of Justice, and law enforcement, and all these people to take note. It's now a crime to burn the flag, and you'll get 1 year in prison for it, as per my August 25th executive order. And this got everybody up in arms about it. And I read the executive order, and I'm like, guys, this is pure nonsense. The executive order does nothing. He's just trying to bait you. He's trying to distract you from Epstein and the economy that he's destroying, the bailouts for farmers and bailouts for Argentina, and all of this stuff that he's doing, and having his masked federal thugs on the streets disappearing people and beating them up and arresting people without warrants. This is designed to distract from all that. So 100% I agree that so much of what he does is utter nonsense. How about pretending to ban paper straws by executive order? That was a thing. That distracted people. Total nonsense. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, total fucking nonsense. You read that executive order, it doesn't even rename the whole Gulf of Mexico. It only renames a tiny slice that's actually under American control. The overwhelming majority of the surface area of the Gulf of Mexico is not under American control, and we have no authority to rename it, and Trump's executive order doesn't even pretend to rename the whole thing. And on and on and on. Oh, changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Guess what? It's still called the Department of Defense. If you read the executive order where he pretends that he renamed it, he didn't. He gave it a nickname. That's what it says in the executive order. It's just a secondary name. In other words, a fucking nickname. So, I mean, on nearly a daily basis, he does or says something designed to distract you, to outrage you, but it's complete and utter nonsense. So I agree with these people, or whoever this person is, him and his lawyer buddies, that most of what he says and does is nonsensical, and that we shouldn't be so doomsday. Here's the problem with that, and this is where I'll disagree about this idea of being too doomsday. Look, here's the thing. if we envision, if we're going to be super doomsday, right? And we envision and expect the worst possible scenario of what this man might do, whether we're talking some attempt at martial law, using the military to take over elections offices in the states to prevent elections, using the military to surround the White House in January of 2029 when he refuses to leave, using the military and threats of force to intimidate people from going to the polls. All of these kinds of horrible things, right? If we expect those things and try to prepare for them and anticipate those things happening, and then they don't happen, well then great. We can just be pleasantly surprised that the worst case scenario that we were anticipating didn't actually happen. We can just go, phew, that's great. I'm so glad that didn't happen. There's no harm done, in other words, in expecting the worst case scenario to happen. If, however, we say, you know what, let's not be so doomsday, right? If I take this guy's advice and let's not be so doomsday. Let's not worry about the worst case scenario because it's probably not going to happen. Okay, so what if we take that position and we don't spend any time thinking about the worst case scenarios and trying to prepare in advance for those things, and then they actually happen? Well, then we're really screwed, because we will have been completely caught off guard. We have no way to deal with it. We haven't even put any thought into how we would deal with it. We certainly didn't take any steps to prevent it because we convinced ourselves that, oh, that's just doomsday. That's not going to happen. That's crazy talk. Isn't that exactly how we got where we are? By too many people telling themselves, oh, that's crazy talk. That will never happen. How many things did people say, that's crazy, that'll never happen, which turned out to happen? He'll never do that, but then he goes and does it. So I think we need to learn from the recent past here. We should not put anything past this man, even if it sounds like, oh, that's really not going to happen. It's not terribly likely. And a lot of these things that I'm thinking about as possibilities, I know, all right, that's not terribly likely. I'm trying to figure out how he would do some of these things. I mean, because a lot of the worst case scenarios would require a whole lot of people to go along with what he wants to do. For example, he has zero authority and zero power to cancel elections. Elections are run at the state. He can't, so he issues an executive order to cancel elections. That's not going to do anything unless people in the states go along with his illegal executive order. So on the one hand, you can say, well, that's ridiculous to think that that's going to happen. He doesn't control the elections. They're held by the states. They're controlled by the states. So there's nothing he can do unless people go along with it. Either red states go along with it because they're part of his cult and they do whatever he wants, and people in the blue states go along with it because he threatens them with the military or whatever. Even things that don't seem likely, you convince yourself, yeah, he can't really do that. I think that's a mistake, because I guarantee you that Russ Vought, Stephen Miller, all these other people around Trump who are far smarter than he is. Look, Donald Trump's not coming up with any of these strategies. He's not actually doing shit. He is far too stupid to come up with these plans that we're seeing implemented all over the country right now to destroy this republic. Donald Trump is far too stupid. He doesn't understand how anything works, and so he doesn't know how to attack the system. He's far too stupid. These other people are, and I guarantee you, they are scheming every day, coming up with ways to do exactly the things we fear the most. So we could write these things off and convince ourselves, oh, that'll never happen. There's no way for them to do it. I'm telling you, they're scheming every day, coming up with ways to do it. And if we don't at least start thinking about these things and anticipating them and trying to come up with ways to prevent it, if it looks like they're going to try some of this stuff, then we're going to get caught off guard, and it's more likely that they'll be successful in doing those things. So I think it is very, very risky for us to convince ourselves that anything is impossible. And convince ourselves, look, we're being too doomsday. Now, we need to be doomsday, all right? We need to anticipate the worst case scenario, because those are the things that they're planning. And if we don't start preparing, they're going to be successful. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.